All right, good evening, everyone. This is Gabe Albornoz, President of the County Council, and this evening we have a public hearing this is our second public hearing on Expedited Bill 4921, Police Accountability Board Administrative Charging Committee established. The bill would establish the Police Accountability Board for the county, define the membership and duties of the board, establish the Administrative Charging Committee for the county, define the membership, duties, and compensation for members of the committee, and generally amend the law governing police accountability and discipline. A public safety work session is tentatively scheduled for Monday, January 24th. Persons wishing to submit additional material for the council's consideration should do so before the close of business on January 19th. If you would like to follow the progress of a bill, the council website has a subscribe function. Go to the council website and use the View Council Record and Legislative Updates link to learn how. Each individual this evening will have 2 minutes to speak. Individuals will be alerted as they approach their 2 minutes and may be disconnected. Also, there may be there already have been many technical glitches during the public hearing that may need to be addressed by our staff. And thank you to the staff for addressing the glitch that we've already had. So thanks in advance for your patience, and thank you period for your patience. Ms. Lindsay, we now turn it over to you to help facilitate tonight's public hearing.
Thank you, Council President Albornoz. Our first speaker this evening, well, let me just say we have about 30 speakers this evening. Our first speaker this evening is Maddie Naji. Maddie, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I know that there are some people I know in the wings waiting to be let into this Zoom room so that they can listen to the testimonies. I don't know if there's space to wait for people to actually join so that there's an actual public audience.
So, Mr. Matter, we are working on getting more people in as we identify them, but your 2 minutes has started, so you may begin when you are ready for your testimony. Thank you so much.
Okay. Everyday Canvassing was an organization created to hold government accountable. We've knocked on over 10,000 doors in the last 2 years and had thousands of deep, open-ended conversations with renters all over the county. Experience has taught us that good governance and community engagement go hand in hand. Support and buy-in from community bolsters the efficacy of any bill, policy, or regulation. Bill 4921E as written misses the mark. As Everyday Canvassing, we stand behind the racial equity and social justice impact statement made earlier today, and I am testifying on Bill 4921 with the position of against and less amended. Here are our main concerns. Number one, because of the Police Accountability Board's membership requirements, communities who are most impacted because of police misconduct are excluded from the board process, conflicting with the spirit of the new state law. Number two, the bill fails to compensate board members aside from the chair for their work, further limiting the ability for impacted community members to participate in the disciplinary process. Number three, the bill's current scope of work is just too limited and should be expanded. Number four, the bill creates an unacceptable conflict of interest by requiring the county attorney to serve as counsel to the Police Accountability Board. Accountability cannot happen if the county attorney serves as counsel to the board while also representing the county and the Montgomery County Police Department. The Police Accountability Board must have its own independent counsel and staff separate from the offices of the county or state attorney. State law also requires that the county adequately fund the staffing needs, of the Police Accountability Board. We and the OLO asked the council to go one step further and fund independent staff with the capacity to focus fully on the Police Accountability Board and its large breadth of responsibilities. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to continuing to work for local government that's accountable to all residents all year long.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maddie. I just wanted to let everybody know, those who are in the waiting room, if you're not identified as any of the speakers on the list, we can't let you in, but those who would like to listen can do so on CCM, Facebook, or YouTube. Our next speaker this evening is Susan Erdy. Susan, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Susan Udry, and I'm the Executive Director of Defending Rights and Dissent. We're a national civil liberties organization founded in 1960 and dedicated to seeing the promise of the Bill of Rights made real for everyone in the U.S. We have deep roots in Montgomery County with hundreds of supporters in the county, and we're a member of the Silver Spring Justice Coalition and Montgomery County Civil Rights Coalition. We strongly oppose NC Bill 4921 unless it's significantly amended, which I understand the Council is prepared to do. I submitted my written testimony before I had a chance to look at the very powerful Racial Equity and Social Justice Impact Statement prepared by the Office of Legislative Oversight. I urge the Council to seriously consider the analysis and recommendations so deftly laid out in the statement. Specifically, I'd like to highlight the recommendation to expand the PAB's scope to review all allegations of police misconduct made by the public, not just cases where administrative charges are being considered. Substantively, this bill is lacking. The bill requires members of the board to have experience that perpetuates the status quo for police discipline in Montgomery County. The bill's membership requirements will lead to a PAB that looks like law enforcement agency and makes it almost impossible for people outside of law enforcement to serve on the PAB. This obviously excludes those communities who have suffered the brunt of bad policing. We urge an amendment revising the membership requirements of the boards. The bill also creates a conflict of interest by requiring the county attorney to serve as PAB counsel. The PAB must have its own independent counsel and staff in order to engage in the responsibilities delegated to it by the MPAA. Montgomery County can and must do better. We expect that. Please see my written testimony for additional concerns, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Erdry. I appreciate it. Next speaker this evening is Jen Henkelman-Bond. Jim, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
I am Jim Henkelman-Bond, representing the Racial Justice Circle at Christ Congregational Church, United Church of Christ. Our Racial Justice Circle opposes Bill 4921 unless the bill is strengthened by amendments. Our church became interested in police accountability and transparency in 2019 when Robert White was senselessly killed near our church, where Robert White was walking unarmed through his own neighborhood when he was profiled, confronted, followed, and finally shot and killed by a Montgomery County police officer. Essentially, he was shot for walking while black. Unjustified killing of black men by police in Montgomery County has continued with no convictions of police. More accountability is needed. We do not think that Bill 4921, which is intended to implement the Maryland Police Accountability Act, passed by the Maryland legislature last year, reflects the needs of our community. We were disappointed that Bill 4921 was drafted without community input. One problem is the narrow criteria for membership on the Police Accountability Board and the Administrative Charging Committee, which will exclude involving those very communities who have suffered the brunt of bad policing. These criteria perpetuate the status quo for police discipline in Montgomery County. The bill's membership requirements will lead to a Police Accountability Board and Administrative Charging Committee that looks exactly like our current MCPD hearing board and makes it almost impossible for people outside of law enforcement to serve. Bill 4921 needs to be amended to include a broader representation of Montgomery County on the PAB and the ACC. I'm sure your other testimony will point out additional areas for amending. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Cynthia Bodie-Willis. Cynthia, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Do we have Ms. Cynthia Bodie-Willis here this evening?
Yes, I'm here. I
Hello.
didn't do my video. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before the council. My name is Cynthia Bodie-Willis, and I'm here to testify in opposition to Expedited Bill 4921 as written on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Montgomery County. The League has long held that government bodies, both administrative and legislative, must protect the citizens' right to know, by giving adequate notice of proposed actions. Consequently, it is regrettable that the process by which this bill has been drafted by the county's executive office and introduced in the county council has not satisfied this basic requirement of good governance. This despite repeated requests for public hearings. Of note, on December 12th, the League and 19 other community and advocacy organizations called for public hearings before the bill was introduced. Despite these efforts, the bill was introduced to the council on December 14th without any community input. The voices of the citizenry at large, but most importantly, of those who are the most impacted by police practices, were neither sought nor heard. The League also promotes an open government system where all aspects of that system are not only accountable and responsive, but also representative. The bill currently stipulates that all members of the PAB have experience in managing or evaluating the management of law enforcement agencies, evaluating citizen complaints, or personnel disciplinary proceedings. This requirement severely restricts the pool of eligible participants, forcing the League to take issue with this aspect of the bill as well. However, the bill did call for today's public hearing. It is the League's further expectations that all who wish to testify either before or against this bill will be given the opportunity to do so. This is to enable community engagement to the greatest extent possible and to help ensure that the amended bill is true to the intent of the Maryland Police Accountability Act of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Carleen Ponder. Carleen, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear members of the County Council, on behalf of the ACLU Montgomery County, I submit this testimony in opposition of this bill. While it purports to support police accountability reforms passed by the Maryland General Assembly, this bill undermines those reforms. The historic legislation passed by the Maryland General Assembly was hard fought and won only after many years of personal testimony of police misconduct going unheard and or unheeded year after year by state policymakers. Finally, thanks to a confluence of national attention on police brutality against Black bodies, community protests, and a handful of responsive legislators, state law has lifted the veil of secrecy and privilege previously afforded to police misconduct complaints and investigations. In response, the Montgomery County Council, at the behest of County Executive Mark Elrich, has introduced a bill to create a police accountability board that is neither representative of the spirit of the new state law or capable of providing community trust. First, the bill requires all members serving on a police accountability board to have extensive experience in police management, stating each member must reside in the county and have experience managing or evaluating the management of a law enforcement agency. Second, the bill excludes most community members by requiring experience evaluating citizen complaints against a police officer or police accountability board personnel disciplinary proceedings as a manager, employee, representative, mediator, or arbitrator. Third, this bill essentially enshrines the already flawed internal affairs process currently in place. By seeking to introduce this bill without community input, the county executive has insulted the time and effort of volunteers across the county who labored for several months to evaluate and make recommendations to current police operations as part of the Reimagining Public Safety Task Force. The task force was convened by the county executive.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but your 2 minutes is up. I truly apologize about that.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Jill Sedgy. Jill, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, thank you very much. I'm testifying on behalf of Silver Spring Justice Coalition. This is yet another policing the police bill. We've had this in Montgomery County. We need a change. State law in Maryland is mandating it, and Montgomery County is not doing that. Montgomery County has the ability to have real oversight of the police, but has failed. They as many of the other people have noticed, they have the police policing the police. You have to have police experience or retired judges who are by and far with criminal prosecution background, who are used to having police as witnesses when they were attorneys before they were selected as judges. There's no oversight. As the other speakers have said, the Internal Affairs Division has had in like 2020, for example, 220 cases, and only 8 were funneled out of that. And so only 8 of these cases might see the light to Police Accountability Board that would only have recommendation authority, but not subpoenaing authority. There's all kinds of problems with this bill, and the community clearly wasn't consulted. Even the very racial equity and social justice group that was supposedly put in place to review these bills to see what kind of impact it has was not consulted in drafting it, and that even that Office of Legislative Oversight is against this bill, as is Silver Spring Justice Coalition. It's time for real accountability, and it's time for having community consulted for the very bill that has affected it, and particularly with young Black and Brown people who have all been killed. Every single killing in Montgomery County has been has been against Black and Brown people, and
I'm so sorry.
by the police. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Lori Ann Sales. Lori Ann, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, President Albornoz, Vice President Glass, and members of the council. I am joining you this evening on behalf of Progressive Maryland. Progressive Maryland applauds the county's recent pivot to hold a public hearing to expand the discussion of the Maryland Police Accountability Act, House Bill 670 MPAA. We are confident that the County Council will vet this legislation through the public hearing process, deserving of such significant legislation to ensure robust public engagement to finalize the new disciplinary structures mandated by House Bill 670. The MPAA calls for greater civilian participation in discipline and police oversight. As such, we are glad the council and the executive have responded to encourage engagement and have provided additional opportunities for our diverse communities to give testimony before the final bill is voted on. The following bullet points summarize the concerns that Progressive Maryland and our members have issue with. The fact that the bill was drafted without any community input, even though the bill was created to ensure genuine community input and involvement in the disciplinary process through this oversight committee. The bill only provides compensation for the ACC, not requiring compensation for all members of the Police Accountability Board diminishes the importance of the work involved in providing oversight over this body. Even the current membership requirements are eliminated. Further, the bill fails to ensure regional representation is considered in the final confirmation of who serves on the board. Diverse lived and professional experience is key in who makes decisions on this body. Again, the size and makeup.
Lori, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but your 2 minutes is up. Thank you so much for your testimony. Thank you. Our next speaker this evening is Brandy Brooks. Brandy, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready.
Thank you, Council President Albornoz, Vice President Glass, and members of the County Council. My name is Brandy Brooks, and I'm a racial justice organizer, consultant, and trainer in Kensington. I'm here to share my strong opposition to the current version of Expedited Bill 4921 and to urge the Council either to withdraw the bill or significantly amend it as advised by the Office of Legislative Oversight and community advocates. Simply put, this bill fails to establish the community-based accountability needed to address police misconduct and change the nature of police interactions with our communities. Bill 4921E prioritizes the voice of law enforcement while disadvantaging directly impacted community members, limits the Police Accountability Board's scope to a small fraction of police misconduct cases, creates a serious conflict of interest by not having independent counsel for the board, and fails to address national best practices around providing resources for the board's work, ensuring access to records, requiring access to and cooperation from MCPD executives and staff, or supporting stakeholder participation. Above all, the biggest flaw with Bill 4921E is the choice of the county executive and council to introduce this bill without consulting those who have been pressing for police accountability at the local and state level for years. The result is clear from OLL's Racial Equity and Social Justice Impact Statement, which finds that Expedited Bill 4921 sustains racial and social inequities as the police accountability system it proposes neither aligns with best practices nor meaningfully provides civilian oversight for the county's system of police discipline. This bill does not meet even the basic goals of police accountability and absolutely does not do what is needed to protect the safety and dignity of people in our county. Police accountability is only possible if the council holds itself accountable to crafting legislation that advances racial equity and social justice in collaboration with those most directly impacted. The status quo is not merely insufficient, it is dangerous and it is deadly. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And for those who weren't able to finish, you can also submit a written testimony. I just wanted to give that friendly reminder. Our next speaker this evening is Kristen Mink. Kristen, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony and you may begin when you are ready.
Good evening, President Albornoz, Vice President Glass, and members of the County Council. My name is Kristen Mink, and I'm a lifelong resident, a full-time community organizer and legislative advocate, and a candidate for County Council in District 5. I'm here today to urge you to reject Bill 4921 unless it is significantly amended. The Office of Legislative Oversight recently released its Racial Equity and Social Justice Impact Statement, or RESJ, for this bill. The findings are damning. So thank you to advocates for calling for this impact analysis and to the Council for ordering it. This bill is supposed to fulfill the mandate by state-level legislation to give the community more control in addressing police misconduct. Instead, it undermines the intent of the state law. Its failures fall into three main categories identified by the RESJ impact statement. First, a lack of independence of the oversight bodies from the police. As the county's OLL found, the Police Accountability Board, as proposed, is unlikely to be independent of MCPD because it requires its members to have significant law enforcement experience. Combined with the lack of compensation, those most impacted are least likely to be represented on these so-called civilian oversight bodies. Second, there is insufficient authority granted to the oversight bodies. The PAB, as proposed, only has the ability to review allegations of misconduct, which the MCPD's Internal Affairs Division has already determined warrant possible administrative charges. In 2020, this comprised only 34 out of 220 allegations of police misconduct. Failure to broaden the scope of the PAB means the overwhelming majority of public complaints will continue to gather dust. The bill should be amended to allow the PAB to review all allegations of police misconduct made by the public and to require MCPD to provide the PAB access to relevant data. And finally, this bill fails to guarantee needed resources. It must be amended to include the budget and independent counsel and staffing needed to fulfill the full scope of authority just described. Consider what's at stake. Robert White, Duncan Lemp, Finan Berhe, Ryan LaRue, now Osman Sese, the kindergartner cuffed and berated for wandering away from class, dramatic racial disparities in police interactions and arrests. This is the moment to decide whether we will put a Band-Aid on an open wound or have the courage to make meaningful, systemic change. I implore you to seize this opportunity to work with the community and do this right. Reject the bill unless it is significantly amended. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is John Zitterer. John, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is John Zitterer. I'm a downtown Silver Spring resident and worker. I'm opposed to Bill 4921E unless significantly amended, primarily for 2 reasons. First, the criteria for serving on the Police Accountability Board contained in the bill frustrates the intentions of the Maryland Police Accountability Act. The MPAA was designed as a compromise that would result in extensive participation by the communities that are most affected by policing. The bill's criteria, however, would only perpetuate the status quo, which excludes the perspectives and voices of the people who are most affected by policing. We have seen over and over again, police in Montgomery County have killed just in the last year, 5 people of color. None have been held accountable, at least that we know of. At least we also know that police stop a disproportionate number of people of color. We know too many people with mental illnesses or substance abuse problems have been mishandled by police officers. The bill should be amended to allow representatives of these communities to serve on the PAB. Second, the bill should be amended to reflect the importance and scope of the Police Accountability Board's responsibilities. This means, first, that the participation on Police Accountability Board should be a paid position to not only reflect the importance of their work, but also to open these positions to people who may not otherwise afford to perform these weighty responsibilities. Second, the board must have the power to examine the information which the law enforcement agency and the charging committee relied on to reach their decisions. This is necessary for the board to fulfill its duty to advise the heads of law enforcement agencies and county officials on ways to improve policing. Third, the board must be allowed to hire its own independent staff to support its duty to advise on policing improvements and its obligation to solicit input from the many communities throughout the county and to educate these communities on important policing developments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Faith Blackburn. Faith, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, President Albanaz and council members, for hosting this hearing. I am Faith Blackburn from the Montgomery County of the NAACP, and we are here to support this bill with extensive amendments. The Accountability Board, which intended to implement the state law requiring the enactment of police accountability boards throughout Maryland, should be used as a means to address discriminatory practices by bringing transparency and accountability to the civilian complaint process. Unfortunately, this bill in its current form does not accomplish that. Therefore, the NAACP is urging the council to amend this bill to include an increase in the size of its membership and a change in its eligibility requirement to ensure that Black and Brown residents who are disproportionately impacted by policing and misconduct are represented. To expand the Police Accountability Board scope to review all allegations of police misconduct by the public, and to require the Montgomery County Police Department to provide the Police Accountability Board access to all relevant data, as well as to assign a designated person to address all of the PBA's data requests. And finally, we are asking that specific language defining the staffing and annual budget to support the work of the PBA and the ACC. Without these important amendments, nothing will change. We have already witnessed the lack of change in the last 20 years. We cannot afford to wait another 20 years for justice in this progressive county. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Ms. Lindsay, I just want to make a couple of comments really quick. First, I want to thank everybody who has testified thus far and everybody who will testify for the rest of this evening. There is great consistency in a lot of the feedback regarding the concerns regarding this bill and also the manner in which it was introduced. Let me just remind everyone of a couple of things which are important as context, which is that to comply with state law, this particular commission needs to be enacted up and running before the end of this fiscal year, which ends on June 30th. And so we, at the request of the county executive, wanted to initiate this process to allow for the public discourse that we are hearing from this evening and get recommendations on important amendments that will be made. I suspect that there will be many amendments made, and many of them based on the very strong recommendations we've received this evening and the second public hearing that we had last week. So the council did introduce this at the request of the county executive to engage and initiate this process so that we comply with state law and allow a long enough runway to make a course correction in terms of some of what has been laid out in the bill. The racial impact statement, which has been made and has been done by Dr. Bonner Tompkins and her team, is outstanding as usual. and will provide a further guide as we deliberate over this important issue. But I just want to acknowledge the testimony this evening and that we are at the beginning of this legislative process. And as it runs through its course, I suspect that we will enact many, if not most, of the recommendations being made this evening. So thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone of that and let everyone know that their testimony is sincerely appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Our next speaker this evening is Yannette Emanuel. Yannette, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready.
Thank you. Good evening, Council President Albornoz and members of the Montgomery Council. My name is Yannette Emanuel, Interim Public Policy Director at the ACLU of Maryland. The ACLU of Maryland opposes Bill 4921, which seeks to establish severely flawed Police Accountability Board and Administrative Charging Committee. As currently drafted, the bill fails to fulfill the spirit of the Maryland Police Accountability Act in several respects. As you know, the General Assembly in 2021 repealed the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights and replaced it with a new disciplinary framework that creates new charging committees, police accountability boards, and amends the makeup of trial boards. Passage of that legislation sends a clear message that state policymakers understand the need for more community involvement in investigation of police misconduct. More importantly, the MPAA sought to establish trust between communities and law enforcement so that our communities can be safer and our residents can be best served and protected without the threat of over-policing, discrimination, and police brutality. To meet the goals of the MPAA, the ACLU of Maryland respectfully recommends the following. The legislative effort for police accountability is driven most exclusively by the understanding that law enforcement is unwilling and unable to police themselves. Therefore, the Police Accountability Board should not be comprised of any current or previous law enforcement officers. While the bill currently requires the PAB to be diverse in race, gender, and culture, there are broader demographic groups that ought to be represented and offer a unique perspective on policing. We recommend amending the diversity provision to be inclusive of sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, and the needs of those with substance use disorder, for example. To ensure that the community is represented, we recommend that the community-based organizations have an opportunity to nominate members to the board and that there be public input before the council confirms any appointees. The bill is currently drafted, allows for the removal of members for a violation of law. As is well documented, persons of color are disproportionately policed and therefore disproportionately criminalized. Allowing the removal of someone for a violation of a law is likely to impact members of color disproportionately. Consequently, we recommend you strike this provision. And lastly, to be functional, any oversight body must be resourced, independent, and empowered. To this end, both the PAB and the ACC must be adequately funded, supported by independent staff and counsel, and empowered to conduct independent investigations and have access to information the bodies need to thoroughly hold law enforcement accountable. The demand for community oversight has historically been the central issue that is raised in advocacy efforts rooted in racial justice because it is the most central deterrent to police abuse, which is why many of us are here tonight. In addition to the above recommendations, the ACLU of Maryland strongly urges the council to maintain an open line of communication with the community and the advocates as this process unfolds. Police accountability begins with the community, so we encourage the council to prioritize community perspectives in its deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker this evening is Nicole Zimmerman. Nicole, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole Zimmerman. I'm the chair of Montgomery County Democratic Socialists of America, and I'm testifying on behalf of DSA. We have over 500 members in Montgomery County, spanning across the county and spanning from high school students in Montgomery County Public Schools to retirees. We were happy to join a community letter in December asking County Executive Mark Elridge to engage the community before releasing draft Police Accountability Board legislation. And we were dismayed when the county executive released a bill without community input. We're against this bill unless significantly amended, like many of the other speakers. What's more, the current bill as drafted fails to meet the spirit of the state law and shift power away from the police and towards impacted communities. As many of the other speakers have covered, the criteria for Police Accountability Board members essentially means that community members with experience dealing with the Montgomery County Police are unlikely to be eligible to serve on the board, while many former Montgomery County Police Department employees would likely be eligible. We also know that certain Montgomery County communities are over-policed, and the legislation fails to require regional representation. So, for example, the County Executive's Reimagining Public Safety Board report recommended that the county reduce the number of sworn full-time officers in police districts 3 and 4 to reduce patrol officer contact with residents in these districts. Given that these districts had double or triple the number of use of force incidents as other districts, and that Black residents were disproportionately stopped by police. Additionally, we are concerned that this legislation excludes police leadership from the accountability board's oversight. DSA was a part of the electoral coalition that got County Executive Elridge into office, and since then we've been routinely disappointed with Elridge over policing issues. We recommend that the county executive and the council seriously overhaul this legislation in collaboration with the community before advancing it any further. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Ashanti Martinez. Ashanti, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I'm Ashanti Martinez on behalf of CASA. CASA is here to register testimony in opposition of Bill 4921 unless seriously amended. At CASA, our mission is to create a more just society by building power and improving the quality of life in working class and immigrant communities. CASA is the region's largest community organization serving the immigrant community with a growing membership of over 115,000, over 20,000 of whom live in Montgomery County. We at CASA are in proud support of the amendments provided to the council by the Silver Spring Justice Coalition. As coalition members, we strongly believe in the core principles outlined in the list of proposed amendments and ask the council to thoroughly review them. Tonight, I'd like to talk about the importance of 2 particular amendments. CASA sees police accountability boards as opportunities for county residents' voices to be empowered in the aftermath of police misconduct. We believe they should be bodies open to all residents to serve. Bill 4921 in its current form requires membership of this board to have extensive experience in one of the following areas: managing and evaluating law enforcement agencies, evaluating citizen complaints against police officers and personnel disciplinary proceedings as managers, employee representatives, or mediators. We feel like requirements like these are extreme barriers of entry to working class residents and will only produce decisions similar to the already established NCPD hearing board. We ask that the council amend the bill to remove these barriers of entry and have membership of this board be welcoming to all county residents. We also ask that the bill be amended to provide compensation for PAB members. The bill as it currently stands only provides compensation for ACC members. Not providing compensation for members of the PLB severely limits who will feel empowered to apply to be on this board and also shows to working class people that they are not welcomed. We thank the council for the opportunity to provide public comment, and we look forward to working with you to get a bill that works for us. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Jawa Hall. Jawa,
Thank you. And good evening, everybody. Good evening, President Albornoz and members of the council. My name is Dewal Hall, and I'm the political coordinator for 1199 SEIU, United Healthcare Workers East Maryland, DC, which represents 12,000 healthcare workers in almost every stage of the healthcare delivery process in the state. Given the need to better hold police in this county and in our state more accountable for their misconduct when it occurs, we are not in support of this bill. For 1199 SEIU members who work or live in the county like myself, this legislation is of great importance. Not only do our members want to know that they are being policed with standards and procedures that reflect the input and needs of the community, but that they live in a county that includes true racial equitable practices in those standards. They want to know that when the rules are broken, there is a real process to correct wrongs being done in our communities, and that there will not be a heavy-handed influence of police officers involved in that process. The exclusion of community members, particularly from the PAB, conflicts with the intent of the new state law, House Bill 670, which replaced the outdated and biased Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights. While advocates fought for a law that would allow for enforceable civilian oversight of policing, that is not what we got. However, the PAB, a board with oversight but not enforcement powers, populated by members of the community, was the compromise. This board was intended to ensure that community involvement in the disciplinary process was achievable. This version of this bill, 4921, does not accomplish that. This bill requires members of the board to have experience managing or evaluating the management of law enforcement agencies, evaluating citizens' complaints against police officers, and personnel disciplinary experience in proceedings as a manager, employee representative, mediator, or arbitrator. That's a pretty high bar to reach if you're an everyday working person. These should be this should be a means of regular non-law enforcement people to be part of this process. Passing this legislation would not ensure that residents are able to build a better rapport with the police department and thus would not build more trust between residents and the police. For these reasons, we believe that this bill will not create the necessary structure for a true police accountability board, and we cannot support this bill 4921. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony, Dewar. Our next speaker this evening is Scott Schneider. Scott, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Scott Schneider. I'm a 38-year resident of Silver Spring and I was a member of the County Executive's Task Force last year on reimagining public safety. I'm also a graduate of the Silver Police Academy, and I'm presenting this testimony on behalf of Progressive Neighbors, a local grassroots group that supports progressive candidates for local office. The past few years, we've seen numerous instances of police misconduct in Montgomery County. One key to solving this problem is effective discipline of police officers so they understand there are consequences for misuse of their powers. This is exactly why the legislature passed HB 670 that mandates police accountability boards, and this bill which will create such a board is seriously flawed. The most serious flaw is the composition of the board. And I'm going to echo a lot of the comments that have been made already, that the experience requirements excludes most of the county residents, tilts the board towards the status quo, and limits accountability that it needs to be effective and accepted as credible by communities, by our community. And I would just preface that by saying that many of the people that were on the executive's task force last year on reimagining public safety would likely be excellent candidates for such a board, even though they may not meet the qualifications that are in the current legislation. It's critical for those that are most impacted by police misconduct, like brown and black residents and young people, to have an effective voice on the board. The criteria need to be revised and expanded, and training can and should be provided for board members that may need it. And the budget should include sufficient funds to ensure that the members of the board have access to appropriate training. We hope that you will amend the bill with these comments in mind and those of other residents. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Melody Cooper. Melody, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Do we have Melody Cooper here?
Yes, we do.
Great, thank you. I'll give a few minutes there, a few seconds for her to come on.
You're on mute, Ms. Cooper.
You can unmute yourself, Ms. Cooper. There you go. Thank you. We still can't hear you. I'm not sure if something with your audio there. Okay. Okay, Ms. Cooper, how about if you guys can help her technically there, we'll come right back to you, Ms. Cooper. We see you. I'm sure we'll be able to hear you very soon. Nick or Lucy, if you guys can help her with her audio there.
Ms. Cooper, you can please join by phone. We can let you in that way. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go ahead on to Kyson Taylor, and Ms. Cooper will come right back to you, okay? Our next speaker is Kyson Taylor. Kyson, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyson Taylor, and today I'm here to voice Smoke Against Brutality's opposition to Bill 4921. Firstly, this bill is oxymoronic in its nature. Despite being introduced to allow for civilian involvement in police accountability, the bill was drafted and introduced entirely without community input, effectively cutting marginalized stakeholders out of a conversation that shapes the way they live their lives. Not only is this contradictory bill a sign of inadequate legislating, it makes the attempt at encouraging police accountability entirely unsuccessful. Legislation like this marginalizes Black and Brown communities. Secondly, the bill actively excludes the marginalized voices we need so desperately in this conversation. By requiring members of the boards to have experience in law enforcement disciplinary practices, this bill will lead to a policing advisory board that looks exactly like our current MCPD hearing board, which makes it almost impossible for people outside of law enforcement to serve, excluding again those communities who have suffered the brunt of bad policing. Additionally, this bill creates egregious conflicts of interest by requiring the county attorney to serve as the PAB counsel when the county attorney also represents the MCPD and the county. This does not make sense. Why are we prioritizing the voices of those who serve MCPD over those who MCPD harms? Finally, this bill displays yet another sign of bad legislation as it fails to consider research on policing accountability and thus perpetuates a harmful status quo for police discipline in Montgomery County. Experts generally find that investigation-focused agencies are the most successful civilian oversight approach for holding police officers accountable for misconduct because they focus on individual complaints. Yet this bill advocates for the far less effective review board model. Look, we have an opportunity here to model effective police accountability for counties across the country and begin to finally address a status quo which harms minority communities. Regardless of short timelines, we need to begin with community input. We need data-driven legislation, and we need substantive change. Thank you guys so much for your time, and MoCo Against Brutality offers any help possible in this fight.
Thank you for your testimony. We're going to go ahead and bounce back to Ms. Melody Cooper. Ms. Cooper, are we able to hear you now? Okay, we're still working with those technical difficulties there with Ms. Cooper. We're going to go ahead on to Mr. Amari Mbongo. Amari, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready.
Good evening, council members. My name is Amari Mbongo, and I'm a senior at Albert Einstein High School, a co-lead of Student Towards Equitable Public Schools, and a resident of the Aspen Hill area. I'm currently my school's SJ president, and I have experience in both student government and many other governing bodies in Montgomery County that public representation is only accessible to the often privileged people who have voices are most heard by our government, not by the people like me whose life experience make government harder to access. SJ is not accessible in terms of location, timing, or advertising, and students like me are often left out of the opportunities to represent ourselves. Unfortunately, if not amended, the police disciplinary boards are going to become another one of those governing bodies that is not actually representative of the most impacted communities. As highlighted by others, including the Office of Legislative Oversight, the bill must be amended to best serve Montgomery County by increasing the size of the PAB's membership and changing its eligibility requirements to ensure BIPOC, LGBT+, low-income residents, and those who experience mental health crisis who are disproportionately impacted by policing and misconduct are represented. This would result in increasing the diversity of the board and including members of the community who are most impacted by policing. Also, currently, only the ACC members and the chair of the PAB would get paid. This once again limits the ability for lower-income residents to join the board, as they will have less ability to take on free labor and high-earning compared to high-earning residents. I strongly advise the council to amend this bill to make sure the police disciplinary boards do not end up as another governing body in Montgomery County that fails to represent or support the people it's meant to serve. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Perry Paylor. Perry, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Okay, I believe my video has been stopped.
Okay, well, there you are. We see you. Thank you.
Good evening, Council President Albanaz, Vice Council President Glass. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Perry Paylor, and I'm a resident of Silver Spring and a candidate for Montgomery County State's Attorney. I'm here this evening to call for amendments to Expedited Bill 4929 and to encourage the County Council to seek broad community input to ensure effective and responsive Montgomery County police oversight and meaningful police accountability. Expedited Bill 4921, as currently drafted, requires that members of the Police Accountability Board must reflect the racial, gender, and cultural diversity of the county. Further, membership on the PAB is contingent upon an applicant being a county resident and have experience in 1, managing or evaluating the management of a law enforcement agency, 2, evaluating citizen complaints against police officers, or 3, in personnel disciplinary proceedings as a manager, employee, representative, mediator, or arbitrator. If the legislative intent of Expedited Bill 4921 is to provide for police accountability and community input in policing, it seems counterintuitive to restrict membership on the PAB or ACC to persons who have experience managing a law enforcement agency, evaluating citizen complaints against police, or in personnel disciplinary proceedings. Historically, professional opportunities to gain experience in the disciplines described above have not been open in large numbers to Black and brown residents, persons with behavioral health issues, members of the LGBT community, or other vulnerable individuals most often subjected to excessive force by police. These requirements, as currently configured, would substantially reduce the number of impacted persons who would be eligible to serve on the PAB or ACC. This is especially important to ensure the concerns of Black and Brown residents, persons with behavioral health issues, or members of the LGBTQ community and other vulnerable individuals most often subjected to excessive force by police have a real opportunity to participate on the accountability board and ensure that the voices of the county's historically marginalized populations are heard. I asked the County Council to consider amending the bill to increase the size of the PAB and to change the eligibility requirements for the PAB to ensure that persons who are members of marginalized communities, which have historically been disproportionately impacted by police misconduct, are represented on the PAB and ACC. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this
Gordon?
evening. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I believe we have Melody on the phone.
Great, perfect. Miss Melody Cooper, can you hear us? Miss Melody Cooper?
I'm asking her to unmute now.
Okay, let's see if she'll unmute there. If you can go ahead and unmute.
Good afternoon. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. You have 2 minutes to give your testimony. You may begin when you're ready. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, Council President Albanaz and council members. My name is Miss Melody S. Cooper. My son, Kwamna Akron, attended Gaithersburg High School, and 2 of my other sons, Seneca Valley. I oppose the bill MC 49-21 unless it is significantly amended. Last January 8th, 4 Gaithersburg police officers murdered my son, Kwamna. They were not indicted for this crime. The cops were not wearing body cameras and had been stalking my son throughout the day, according to witnesses. They approached him in the dark, were not in uniform, and witnesses reported that they did not announce themselves in any way. Later, the state's attorney reported that they found no bullet casings from my son and over 20 casings from the officers that was shot from the officers had claimed that my son shot at them. To this day, I have not received a police report or any other testimony that occurred at the grand jury. I still have not received any medical examiner's report that was completed. This is wrong. Later, I learned that these same officers that killed my son had been involved in prior abuse. I received 86 pages of misconduct reports on these officers. I had to ask myself if they had been disciplined appropriately by a community board, could they have been fired, and could this have saved my son? And if they were corrected appropriately, maybe my son would still be alive. It is unconscionable not to do all we can do in our power to provide community oversight over the police. This is a demand that is long time coming for Black people, have been asking for generations. Montgomery County ought to provide more community involvement to oversee the police because, as we have seen, the current discipline system has failed tragically. In addition to the murder of my son, now I have met some of the many mothers and families who are grieving in Montgomery County. We demand that the bill is not passed in its current form and be significantly amended. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Steve Metalitz. Steve, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Steve Metalitz. I live in Silver Spring, and I'm testifying on behalf of the Maryland Poor People's Campaign. Our campaign's main goal is to lift up the voices of poor and low-wealth residents in our state and to ensure that those most impacted by government policies are at the table when those policies are set. Applying that standard to Bill 4921, we find the legislation seriously lacking. If it's enacted in its current form, the marginalized groups most directly impacted by abusive policing, including people of color, youth, and the poor, will continue to be excluded from any meaningful role in the oversight of police practices and discipline. The bill's most glaring flaw, as you've heard from many witnesses, is the list of requirements for appointment to the Police Accountability Board. These requirements will make it almost impossible for community representatives of the most impacted populations to serve on this oversight body. Demanding prior experience in law enforcement management or personnel disciplinary proceedings might make sense for the Administrative Charging Committee, which recommends discipline in individual cases, but the PAB is intended to serve a broader function, to be the voice of the community in reviewing outcomes and advising the council and executive on policing matters generally. That's why it's critical that county residents most at risk of police misconduct be fully represented on the PAB. The state statute requires racial, gender, and cultural diversity. The additional qualifications added by this bill should be discarded. This change, along with many others to the makeup and powers of the PAB, are supported by the Racial Equity and Social Justice Impact Statement prepared by the Council's Office of Legislative Oversight, and I was pleased to hear President Albornoz say that the Council will take those recommendations very seriously. As a white middle-class resident of the county for many decades, I personally have not had to worry very much about abusive police practices. That's why we need to make sure that the PAB is not dominated by people like me, but rather by those from the communities most impacted by those practices. Only a strong, diverse, and independent PAB will have the credibility to bring greater accountability to policing in our county. So we urge the council to amend this bill to achieve that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Cisen Berhe. Cisen, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Cisen Berhe. I am a Montgomery County resident, and I oppose MC Bill 4921. I am also Fanon Berhe's sister, who was killed on May 7th, 2020, while having a mental health crisis by Montgomery County cop Sergeant David Cohen. Last year, state attorney declared that Sergeant Cohen's actions were reasonable, yet it was clear Fanon was experiencing a mental health crisis and Cohen escalated the situation. Officers such as Sergeant Cohen need to be held accountable and disciplined appropriately. Real police accountability depends on civilians' oversight, not police policing police. It is time for Maryland and Montgomery County government to put measures in place to hold police accountable and prevent yet another reoccurrence of a similar tragedy. I oppose Bill 4921 because the bill fails to enable real community participation in the disciplinary process and creates unacceptable conflict of interest. The bill was drafted without any community oversight, any community input, and does not provide community oversight as the state law intended. In addition, the county should consult with the public and be thoughtful about composing these boards. Finally, this bill upholds the status quo, and the status quo is not acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Luz Chavez. Luz, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Luz Chavez Gonzalez. I have the honor of serving as the Maryland Youth Organizer for United We Dream DMV. We're the nation's largest network of undocumented immigrant youth, where we empower young people to have their voices heard, both in the local and national level. I'm here today as a Montgomery County resident who's called Gaithersburg home for the past 20 of my 24 years of life. I'm a DACA recipient who knows the impact of the issues intertwined between police and immigration. I, too, was a victim of police negligence that could have caused me to lose my protective status and sent me on a pathway to deportation. Our communities know far too well the intersections of the criminal legal system and the immigration system. We know that Black and brown bodies continue to populate the jail cells of Montgomery County. We know that police continue to harm students in school, and we continue to face the problem of no accountability of police for the deaths of 6 citizens in Montgomery County this past year. Why is it that this bill was drafted without any community input? Why are communities most impacted by police and police abuses not qualified to sit at the table based on the membership requirements of the PAB? This bill does not does not do anything to reflect the needs of the community and, most importantly, my immigrant community. How can I fully trust this board is actually going to provide much needed change in our police systems? As the bill's racial equity and social justice impact statement said, Bill 4921 sustains racial and socio inequities as the police accountability system it proposes neither aligns with the best practices nor meaningfully provides civilian oversight for the county systems of police discipline. I ask this council to listen to me, listen to the impacted community members on this call demanding change, and amend Bill 4921 so that there is real community participation in police accountability. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Melissa Ladd. Melissa, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you. Do we have Melissa Ladd here?
We do.
Okay, give her a few seconds here to come through. Melissa, can you hear us? Okay. I'm going to go ahead to the next speaker and we'll come back to you, Melissa. Give you a few minutes to get everything together there. Next speaker on the list is Zainab Chandri. Zainab, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Good evening, Council President Albornoz, Vice President Glass, and County Council members. On behalf of CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, I thank you for this opportunity to testify against Council Bill 4921, unless, as mentioned earlier, it is significantly amended. CARE is America's largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization. We're glad to see that the Montgomery County Council is moving to establish a police accountability board in compliance with the Maryland General Assembly's mandates. However, we have some serious concerns with the bill as it currently stands. By now, you've seen the disturbing data and statistics on why such a board is necessary. A robust measure that will have a meaningful impact on police accountability requires expansive community buy-in, particularly from those members of the public who are most directly and disproportionately impacted by problematic policing policies. As the bill is currently written, requiring prospective board members to have prior experience in managing a law enforcement agency, evaluating citizen complaints against police officers, and mediation or personnel disciplinary proceedings, it unfairly excludes a large segment of otherwise potentially capable and qualified candidates from consideration. It risks perpetuating the same aspects of current policing practices that need reform. Bill 4921 also does not guarantee equitable representation from Montgomery County's diverse districts who deserve to have a chance in this process. The state legislation mandating the establishment of a police accountability board was already significantly watered down to exclude enforcement capabilities. Not allowing space for substantive, meaningful community input defeats the entire purpose and objective of establishing such a board in the first place. The Office of Legislative Oversight has released a racial equity and social justice impact statement that offers very relevant, meaningful amendments that can help make this bill much more effectively aligned with best practices to advance civilian oversight and improve police accountability. Among these amendments, CARE respectfully urges you to especially consider approving a request to expand the scope of the misconduct complaints that the PABs can review. We respectfully urge you to approve these amendments necessary to make this bill accomplish what's necessary for lasting reform. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Ms. Melissa Ladd, we'll come back to you as you get your technical things in order there. Oh, wait, so do we have Ms. Melissa Ladd here?
Yeah, sorry about that, I'm here.
Okay. Hi, how you doing? You have to give your testimony. You may begin when you're ready. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My name is Melissa Ladd. I'm a resident from Olney, District 4. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this bill. I am testifying in opposition unless amended. The exclusion of community members, particularly from the Police Accountability Board, is in direct conflict with the intent of the new state law. The compromise written into the law, having community members on the oversight board, needs to be incorporated into Bill 4921. It is critical that there is a true community involvement in the disciplinary process. Currently, the bill excludes most community members from participating. We know that community trust is a major component to fair and effective policing. By expanding the roles on this oversight board, Montgomery County can begin to bridge this gap in trust. Additionally, this bill is problematic in that the scope of its work is limited. As reviewed by the Racial Equity and Social Justice Impact Statement from the Office of Legislative Oversight, Bill 4921 needs to be amended to expand the scope of the misconduct complaints that the board can review. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker on the list is Deo Akinshaye. Deo, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Good evening. I'm Deo Akinshaye, a longtime resident of Silver Spring. I'm here to share my recommendation for amending Bill 4921. I wholeheartedly agree with the assessment of the Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice that this bill will have little to no impact on addressing the issues of racial and social inequities in our county. I'm particularly concerned about the method used to select the members of both the PAB and the ACC. The decision to limit membership to those with prior connections to law enforcement only increases the possibility for introducing the element of bias. And the very people who have been historically victimized by police misconduct are eliminated from service on both bodies. This is precisely why our system of jury selection in the United States has no such preconditions. That would be analogous to limiting jury service to attorneys since they have the most familiarity with the law. I therefore ask the council the following question. What is the goal of this law? Is it to present the most expert view, or is it to come to an unbiased and just outcome? If the latter is the case, we must revisit this bill and ensure that membership on both bodies is open to all Montgomery County residents. I would like to conclude with a quote from James Baldwin's No Name in the Street. If one really wishes to know how justice is administered in a country, one does not question the policemen, the lawyers, the judges, or the protected members of the middle class. One goes to the unprotected, those precisely who need the law's protection the most, and listen to their testimony. Ask any Mexican, any Puerto Rican, any Black man, any poor person, ask the wretched how they fare in the halls of justice. And then you will know not whether or not a country is just, but whether or not it has any love for justice or any concept of it. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you for your testimony, Dio. Our next speaker this evening is Fatimata Bari. Fatimata, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Council President Albanaz and Vice President Glass and all the council members. Thank you for this opportunity to testify concerning an important priority of the Montgomery County Women's Democratic Club. I'm here to testify on their behalf. WDC is one of the largest and most active Democratic clubs in our county, with hundreds of politically active women and men, including many elected officials. WDC opposes Bill 4921 unless it is significantly amended to ensure the affected community members will be included in the PAB and removes obstacles which would hinder the PAB's ability to do its job. MC 4921 purports to create an avenue for community involvement in overseeing alleged police misconduct by providing the community the opportunity to sue the PAB, whose charge is to investigate complaints against police officers by community members and render disciplinary decisions and recommendations. However, as currently drafted, this bill does not meet that basic standard. The OLO's Racial Equity and Social Justice Impact Statement found that this bill does not align with the best practices of civilian oversight of police accountability. Why? Because the PAB as proposed is unlikely to be independent of MCPD because it requires its members to have significant law enforcement experience, have the power to recommend changes to policy that would improve police accountability, because its scope by default is limited to the minority of misconduct cases resulting from complaints, or have sufficient resources to carry out its mission since its budget and staffing are not provided in the legislation. WDC is recommending that this bill be amended to specifically exclude former law enforcement officers or those with law enforcement backgrounds who participate in the PAB pay the members of the PAB to compensate members for their time and to raise the stature of the PAB, allow the PAB to select independent counsel. The PAB should not be represented by the county attorney. It is a clear conflict of interest. The lack of meaningful community involvement ensures that the status quo will remain and that the police will continue to have no real accountability, nor will there be a meaningful opportunity for the community to have a voice in oversight of the police. WDC therefore opposes this, respectfully request that the county council amend this bill to include a recommendation set out in the RESJ impact statement and the additional amendments proposed above. Thank you very much for allowing us to testify to this.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Bernice Merchu North. You have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready. Thank you.
Good evening, President Albornoz, Vice President Glass, and members of the County Council. My name is Bernice Mercu North. I am a Silver Spring criminal defense attorney, community leader, and also a candidate for state's attorney. And I am testifying against, unless amended, Bill 4921. And I will focus on its membership requirements in the bill. I am proof that you don't need experience managing or evaluating management or evaluating citizens' complaints in order to serve the good citizens and hold the system accountable. I have served as a volunteer attorney for the Judicial Inquiry Board, which reviewed complaints across Maryland to determine charges against judges. I had no managerial experience as described in this bill, but I was selected for my good judgment to exercise what is fair and right for our justice system. Good judgment, character, and moral compass should be the guiding principles in selecting its members. Not being afraid to challenge authority in order for the public to trust the system again should be part of its membership requirements. This accountability board should not be held to a different standard or operate any differently than the Judicial Inquiry Board that I served on. To foster overall trust in our legal system, we need people to hold police accountable that will have a good moral compass and judgment and aptitude for fairness. Past managerial experience cannot reveal these traits. This is not going to be a police accountability board that fosters community trust when the board has exclusive membership. We should be working towards safety for all of us in Montgomery County, no matter our backgrounds. And for this reason, I oppose, unless amended, Bill 4921. It's time for us as a community to go back to the drawing board and come with a different solution for our county. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Our next speaker this evening is Tracy Spandowney. Tracy, you have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
We know their names, and his name is Robert White. Good evening. My name is Tracy Spandowney, member John Wesley AME Zion Church Social Justice Ministry. We have Ms. Cheryl Jones, Mrs. Rhonda Lindo, and Dr. Christopher L. Zacharias in support of the Silver Spring Justice Coalition recommendations. June 11, 2022 will mark 4 years since Robert White was killed by Officer Anand Bagwar in Silver Spring, Maryland. Many things went wrong that day and could have been prevented. In light of the tragic death of George Floyd, national and international attention have turned to policing and especially their training and oversight. When the events are remotely viewed on television, they seem less personal because it's happening to another state, another city, and most often happening to another family. While we may be empathetic and sympathetic, it is vastly different when it happens to your family, in your state, and in your city. Robbie, as he was affectionately called, he was the son of the late Reverend Robert White, our assistant minister at John Wesley AME Zion Church, and his late wife, Marie White. What was Robbie's crime? Walking in his neighborhood on his way home. Simply put, walking while Black. The review of the shooting by Howard County Police was upheld as righteous shooting. So what other outcome was to be expected when you ask the police to police themselves? There's a serious need for everyday folks to participate and bring a different view to these kinds of proceedings. Perhaps something as simple as the question his white neighbor asked from the NBC News report. I wonder if he would be shot if he were white. Simple questions that go a long way. It is important, it is imperative to have the community input, community buy-in, and participation. Adding again everyday citizens to this review process is sorely needed, especially in light of the current discord and decisions our nation is experiencing, in light of the difficulty in disciplining and dismissing police. So this is a vote to open discussion and bring more clarity on the composition of membership of the review board and ensure everyday citizens are involved in the process with equal voting rights. The board will have input on police oversight and discipline, but to what degree? Selection and approval process of members needs to be spelled out clearly. What staff will be available to this board? How many staff? Their salaries? And what are their functions? Other states have put these kinds of boards in operation. Can we take advantage of their best practices? To exclude community most impacted by policing is simply said a slap in the face. It is time out for missing the mark. Respectively submitted, Social Justice Ministry, John Wesley, AME Zion Church. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Our next and last speaker on the list is Daniel Campton. Daniel Campion, are you here on the call this evening?
Yes, I am here.
Hi, Daniel. You have 2 minutes to give your testimony, and you may begin when you are ready. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. My name is Dan Campion, a 30-year resident of Silver Spring. To quickly get Bill 4921 on track, I implore you to listen to marginalized residents shouting to be heard through grassroots groups like Action in Montgomery, the People's Community Baptist Church, and the Silver Spring Justice Coalition. Also, seek out effective evidence-based practices as described by the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. Funded by the U.S. Department of Justice, NACL's research is based on careful examination of over 160 local policy accountability organizations now operating in the U.S. Based on this evidence, I'm deeply concerned about 5 big problems with the bill. Number 1, if you want the PAB to be representative of our diverse county, start by increasing the number of board members. Most civilian boards across the U.S. have 9 to 12 members. Montgomery County, however, is one of the most diverse in the U.S. Start with 15 members and adjust if needed in the future. Number 2, the experience requirements listed in the bill are very restrictive, will make it hard to find adequate stakeholders to represent our diverse community. Replace the existing language with that enacted by the city of Berkeley, California, which has operated a board since 1973 and recently updated its criteria as follows. Quote, desirable qualities of a board member are familiarity with human resources, law, police procedures, police oversight, or involvement in civil rights or community organizations. Number 3, in order to do their jobs, PAB members must receive training in critical issues such as the fundamentals of civilian oversight, policing policy, how police are trained, civil rights, and constitutional law. Then we must also pay them a reasonable hourly rate for their time spent in training, meetings, or other activities approved by the PAB chair. Number 4, using the county attorney's office to support the PAB and ACC violates the principle of independence. These 2 bodies must be supported by an independent counsel in order to avoid conflicts of interest. Number 5, the PAB and ACC should have professional staff devoted solely to their functions. We need a full-time executive director, a full-time data manager, a full-time policy analyst, a full-time community liaison professional or ombudsman, and administrative support to manage record keeping and meetings. Leading communities like Miami, San Francisco, New Orleans, and Denver are spending over 1% of their police operating budgets on the staffing and operations of their civilian oversight of law enforcement boards. The finances outlined in this bill are a far cry from those levels. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. That concludes the speakers for this public hearing this evening. Council President Albornoz, I'm going to go ahead and toss it back to you to close us out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. A lot of very thoughtful and emotional testimony this evening, particularly from the family of loved ones who we've lost. I want to thank everybody for your very thoughtful comments this evening. As I acknowledged up front, I recognize and own the frustration felt that more input wasn't provided in the development of the bill recommended by the county executive. But I can assure everyone that testified this evening and in the previous session that your voices have been heard, they have been noted, they are consistent with many of the recommendations in the racial equity statement done by the Office of Legislative Oversight. And we look forward to digging into this as soon as possible, beginning with the first committee session before our Public Safety Committee later this month. So thank you all, and we look forward to engaging in this process moving forward. And as is always the case, you can always reach out to our respective offices for further comment or any other recommendations that you may have. Thank you so much, and thank you, Jordan. You did a great job as always tonight, and I apologize once again for the technical difficulties we had this evening. We thank you for your patience. Good evening, everyone.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Oh, Councilmember
Mr.
Navarro,
President.
yes.
Just a point of personal privilege very quickly. I want to associate myself with your remarks. I also just wanted to highlight the importance of our racial equity and social justice law and the fact that we do require racial equity and social justice impact statements. This is, I think, a very tangible example of how useful, how critical, and how extraordinarily important it is to have OLO drafting these, and how it will serve not just this body, but future councils. It will guide them in their work. So I've been particularly moved by the fact that this, in my opinion, has been one of the most important racial equity and social justice impact statements that we have received. And so I feel really good about the fact that we do have this in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen and well said. And thank you, Councilmember Navarro, for your leadership. It's one of the many legacies you've left this county. All right, well, that is it for this evening. So thank you again, Jordan. Thank you to everybody that testified this evening, and thank you to my colleagues and everybody that put this together. Good evening, everyone.